Good evening, YouTube. Tonight we're going to do an update on the C10. And the update is going to specialize in the drive shaft that goes into this C10. What is important about this drive shaft? Why is this drive shaft different from other drive shafts? Well, we've done a couple of things. One thing we did is we shortened the chassis 12 inches in the center here. So that would logically say that we should take 12 inches out of the drive shaft. But the other thing we've done is we put a Turbo 350 in here. And that's different length from the 700 R4 that was there. It turns out that we had to shorten the drive shaft 8 and 9/16 inches. In order to accomplish this, what we did is we took the drive shaft to a drive shaft shop and we had them shorten it the 8 and 9/16. We had new universals put in and we had a new carrier bearing put in. So the drive shaft is good to go. Now the one thing you have to be careful about on a two-piece drive shaft is you have to phase the drive shaft. And phasing the drive shaft means these universals have to line up. And that's what this mark is here, is when we take this thing apart, we'll be able to slide it in the transmission and then slide this secondary drive shaft in and have it come up to the mark and the drive shaft will be phased. All right, so now I think we finally come to a point where we're going to put the drive shaft in the vehicle. Okay, we'll put a little transmission fluid on the yoke here to keep the seal happy. And then we'll talk a little bit about this index mark here. This is the index mark that I've maintained so that we've kept the universals in phase. Now in phase, all that means is you have less vibrations in the drive shaft and keeps the bearings and the universals rotating at a constant velocity. So now what I got to do is separate the drive shaft. Hence the two-piece drive shaft. Carefully. Ooh, don't do that. Okay, and the first piece is in. Now what we've done is we put on the rear end here one of the universal retaining bolts. Now we'll put the second piece on, remembering our index marks. And we've got that perfect. So now we'll slide this into the rear end. So next comes the hardware to bolt the drive shaft in. And we have that pretty much cleaned up and ready to go. Got another universal bolt. One universal bolted in. So what we have now is the carrier bearing, and what we did to get it in there was to take it apart, and it's really not very complicated. It's just a metal carrier that surrounds a rubber bushing that has a plate that clips on the bottom of it. So that we got to put on right now. There we go. Now we need
no lock washer?
no lock washer.
Righty tighty.
It's a little more complicated. Of course, I'm talking, right?
You don't want to sock it?
Yeah, I do.
I like that long handle ratchet.
What we're doing here is tightening the bolts that hold the carrier bearing to the chassis. And we have an installed drive shaft. That's a momentous thing. Keep watching, there'll be more.